Hello, dear students. I hope and wish you are doing good. In continuation of our introduction videos, which we are doing for various subjects of CUET, we are today here with the introduction video for English. By now, you will know English is a part of the language test, and it is very important for you to score well in this subject so that your CUET score comes out well. And if you are new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button, do like and share this video with your friends. And starting off, let me first introduce our faculty for the English subject, Mrs. Kiranmai ma'am. Hello, very warm welcome ma'am.
Hello students, how are you all? Maybe preparing yourselves very well for the exam. I'm Kiranmai Dahagam. I have been in the field of teaching for almost 26 years. I have trained students to face their board exams and also competitive exams like IELTS and CAT and other competitive exams. And as all of you know, English as a module plays a very, very important role in all kinds of competitive exams. The students might do very well in academics, but if they don't have proper communication skills and also if they don't develop their LSRW, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, they face a lot of difficulties once they want to enter any profession. So it is true in almost all the fields, and especially when it comes to CUET, which is conducted all over India based on your grade 12 syllabus and English especially, which you have been practicing at board at 10th level or 12th level, will be tested at different difficulty levels. So you need to be prepared for that and you need proper practice. So these videos will help you to go about with a proper roadmap, which will help you to reach the destination of getting a good score and also getting placed in a very good university. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. So just to re-emphasize the importance of English as a CUET subject. So students, by now you will know for BCom honors or BCom in Delhi University, you have to take one language as a part of the CUET test. Now that language could be whichever language you have studied in your class 12. It could be English, Hindi, Malayalam, Tamil, whichever language. But we believe majority of you would have still taken English as a language, and in addition to your regional language, if that's the case. So to increase your chances of getting into your top college, you should take this subject sincerely. And I'm happy we have a very experienced faculty with us who, through live classes, chapter-wise MCQs, mock test, will make sure that you prepare very well for the subject. And I'll request now, ma'am, if she could give us a brief overview of the CUET syllabus, which is provided by the National Testing Agency. And in the end, I'll also request if ma'am could share a couple of questions for students' reference that they can expect. So passing on to ma'am, please carry forward.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much. I'll start my PPT and I would like to request everyone to understand the modalities and how you have to go about with your preparation. So on almost the lines of your board exam, your English module starts with comprehension, and which is definitely a scoring part of it, and which is of three types: factual, narrative, and literary. So this is the first part of your test, and the second one is verbal ability. Third one is rearranging the parts, choosing the correct word, and then synonyms and antonyms and vocabulary. So if you see, all of them are almost interrelated. If you practice more comprehension paragraphs, automatically your verbal ability will improve. And when you understand the structure of the sentences, rearranging the parts becomes very easy. And choosing the correct word depends on your understanding of the language, understanding of the context, and the vocabulary. And synonyms and antonyms, though they may look a little difficult, but once you start practicing, once you use different techniques to improve your vocabulary, they are not difficult. So there is always hope, and also there is a kind of roadmap which will help you to reach your destination. And vocabulary, which once you understand the context, vocabulary is not a difficult part of it. So let me go first to the reading comprehension. Factually, as all of you know, based on different newspaper articles or books which are written by different authors, and also narrative. Narrative is also a kind of storytelling. So it will have a proper flow of the events, and the literary based on the fiction and the stories or the novels which are written by different great authors. Okay, so factual will be generally newspaper articles and surveys, as you have done in your class 12 based on some surveys, and also reports by different agencies. So all these will be part of your factual paragraphs. So publications, so which will give a kind of exposure for all of you to understand what kind of writing is expected, and also how we have to prepare for the same. Let's go to the narrative part of it. The narrative style has a chronological order. So here you can understand that vocabulary, comprehension, synonyms, and antonyms are all interrelated. So once you do a lot of comprehensions, all these are the byproducts. So comprehension plays a very, very important role in improving your language skills as well. So chronological order in the sense of a story kind of telling. It starts with an introduction. It will have a kind of in between the rise of the events and then climax. So all these things make the part very interesting. And then literary, fiction, passages from different stories, novels, etc. And which require you to understand the central idea and infer the meaning of the words. See, once you understand the paragraph and once you understand the context, inferring the meanings is not a difficult proposition. And then these two things, that is skimming and scanning. So first, when you understand the word skimming, it means that you just have to peripherally read and understand what might be the paragraph. But through scanning, you will be able to understand the answer properly. And understanding the questions also is a very, very important thing. Because MCQs will be a little daunting because there might be a confusion between the words. So if you scan or if you understand the question properly and then go back to the paragraph once again, you will be able to answer the questions. So I'll go to the next part wherein I'll talk about how you have to approach your reading comprehension. If all of you know, reading comprehension tests your understanding of the language. So what is comprehension? Comprehension itself means that as soon as you say, children tell that, ma'am, we have to read and we have to answer the questions. But the meaning of the word, so when you are trying to understand the concepts, understand the meanings of those things. So comprehension is understanding. So you will understand the paragraph well so that you will be able to answer the questions. So for that, what you have to do, first you have to read the questions so that you will reduce time on spending on comprehension. Because when you read the questions, you will understand at least a fair idea of what the paragraph would be. Then you go back to the paragraph. So you keep those questions in mind and do the paragraph so that you understand where to look for and how to understand the paragraph. So by the time you understand the questions, you have done almost 20 to 30% of your work, because with the help of those questions, you will get a fair idea of what the paragraph might be about. And then you go back to the paragraph. And as you have to infer the meaning and also infer the ideas, come back to the questions once again and then keep moving from questions to paragraph. That will reduce the time you have to spend on your reading comprehension. and which will leave time for the other parts of the exam. Okay, so read the questions, go back to the paragraph, and then check what would be the right answer. So we'll discuss one paragraph and the questions at the end. But before that, I just would like to tell you that reading comprehension sets a trend for the other parts of the exam as well. Because you will be able to understand the sentence structures as you will be reading the paragraph thoroughly, and also as you will be understanding the context, you will be able to write the meanings properly. See, it's all interwoven. It's a kind of 360 degrees work when you do comprehension. Okay, so reading comprehension is a very, very important part of it. And then I suggest you to practice at least every day one reading comprehension. See, in the beginning only factual and narrative may not be of a lot of interest to you. So you can start with literary. Literary will be definitely of interest to anybody because it will be fiction and it will make you go back to the story again and again. So start with literary. Maybe whichever genre is of interest to you. Maybe science fiction or normal fiction or Harry Potter kind of books. So get into that habit. And you cannot even say that I don't have time because you can read wherever you are and however you are. So that will set a tone for the next part of the comprehension. Right? So you will be able to do reading comprehensions very well. Then you spend time on reading more and more books and reading, practicing more and more comprehensions, which definitely we will be providing as and when we start up with regular work. So there are different websites which offer so many comprehensions, and our material will be of great use to you because they are all paragraphs which are chosen from different genres and also different books, right? And the next part is verbal ability. Verbal ability, though students might feel that, do we need to learn like that? But English, though it is your medium of instruction and you have been reading so much, but definitely it is not our mother tongue. It requires a lot of practice. And there are techniques, as I was telling previously also, techniques will help you to master the language. And verbal ability you will be able to improve when you do a little extensive reading. And this reading doesn't need to be of any specific genre or specific type only. You can use different techniques like newspaper reading, which is very much available every day, and also your blogs, and also there are podcasts which are very much popular, so you can listen to them, which will help you to understand the context of the reading. So extensive reading will help you in more than one ways. Your verbal ability will improve, your comprehension will improve, and you will be able to understand more synonyms and antonyms. As I told you previously, flashcards, which you can carry wherever you go. You can carry in your phone itself. Use the flashcards to understand the meanings of the words. And then, like, the memory may not be the same for all. So some might have less memory, some might have more memory. But flashcards will act as your way to remember words better. And understanding contextual meaning. If you understand the words or learn the words as individual chunks, nobody remembers. It's not only you, anybody for that matter can remember those. So contextual meaning will help you to remember the meanings of those words very well. So read and then write down the meanings of the words in the book itself so that when you go back, you will be able to recall the meaning of those words. And one more technique is active vocabulary and passive vocabulary. As all of you have been reading English for quite some time, you will definitely have a lot of passive vocabulary. That is, you have heard many people speak, you have read so many books, and you have exposed yourself to different speakers. So you have that proper passive vocabulary. That means it is there in your mind, but you may not know exactly the meaning of it. So that passive vocabulary, you have to turn it into active vocabulary. That will be possible with a little practice. And that practice we will be doing over the period of time during the course. So we use different techniques to convert the passive vocabulary into active vocabulary so that you will be able to answer any question based on the verbal ability or any question based on the synonyms and antonyms, or even sometimes rearranging the sentences also. When you know the meanings of the words, you will be able to arrange it in a proper manner. So, I don't know how many of you know the meaning of the word lexicon. Lexicon means dictionary. So, all these together will help you to improve your mental lexicon. The dictionary will be there as a book, whether it is on the internet or as a book with you. But your mental lexicon is something which will help you to understand the questions or answer them properly. So you have to strengthen your mental lexicon. That happens with a good proper roadmap and also proper practice. So which you will be doing with us throughout the course. Okay, right. Then, and the third part will be rearranging the parts. As I told you, if you practice comprehension, you will be able to understand the structures properly. So rearranging the parts requires a little grammar and understanding the proper flow of the events so that you will be able to understand where you have to have the subject and then where is the clause, where is the phrase, and what meaning does it carry. So here again, the two very important things you have to keep in mind are assuming the meaning. You should be able to, like, as soon as you see, you should be able to assume the meaning. First thing is that. Then understand the grammatical sequence of the words so that you will be able to put the words in proper place. And then check the word order, whether the subject which is called in the beginning is it placed in the beginning, followed by the verb and then object, and what is the flow of the thought. So if you do it a little with focus, it will not be a difficult thing at all. Okay, we are in the parts you might have been doing for different exams, but here it might be a little tricky, but it will be easy when you understand the concepts of the sentence structures, right? So for which we will be dealing with different types of sentences as well, right? And the next one is choosing the correct word, which requires a little exposure to the language. Because once you understand the modalities of the language, once you understand vocabulary, choosing the correct word will not be a difficult thing. And also, in the process, like during the preparation time, you should be able to pay attention to the spellings as well as understand the pronunciation. Sometimes, based on the pronunciation, also the word differs. So, if you pay attention to the spelling, you will be able to understand generally. Like, take for example, besides and beside. So, beside is by the side of, besides is other than. So, just there is a change in spelling. That is, yes is added to besides, but that makes a lot of difference in the context of the sentence. So, there are such words which are a little challenging, but once you start practicing and once you start understanding the context in which they are used, it is not difficult at all. So, for that, you need to understand the meanings and also practice some commonly confused words: adapt, adapt. So, what is adapt and what is adapt? So, simple one letter change will result in the change of meaning. So, It's not difficult, but it needs a little focus on what you are doing. And English, as all of you know, you have been doing it and you have been practicing. But once you want to uh, get good marks in any competitive exam, you need a kind of systematic practice that you will be getting through the course and on a regular basis, right? And synonyms and antonyms. Wow, the word itself rings the bell a little. Ma'am, they are all very, very difficult, but it's not. Whether it is TOEFL or any kind of competitive exam, or CAT, or for that matter, any other competitive exam will have synonyms and antonyms. They are easy when carry with yourself what is required. So a thesaurus will help you to understand what are synonyms and antonyms. But if you learn them as chunks, like individual words, it may not be easy. So you should understand them contextually. So in this context, what will be the word used? So if you understand the context, like as I said, adept, A-D-E-P-T. What is adept? Adept is you are thorough in something. She is adept in using the language. So if you understand adept in the context, whatever synonym you get, you will be able to understand. But if you understand it as an individual chunk, you may not remember the meaning. So that's why whenever you are practicing synonyms and antonyms, use different flashcards so that you go back and then you just revise. So even when you are sitting in a car or traveling somewhere, you just can carry 5 or 10 flashcards in which you write down the synonym and antonym and also the context in which some of them are used. So that you learn at least 5 to 10 words per day. That adds so much to your writing also and also to your comprehension. Okay, so use flashcards, use different uh, techniques, that is understanding the contextual meaning of it, inferring the meaning based on whatever topic is given. So inference also helps you to understand the synonyms that you may not be doing it in the exam, but while practicing, if you use that contextual meanings, you will be able to remember those words very well. Like it is a daunting task. Once you say daunting, D-A-U-N-T-R-N-G. As a chunk, as a word, if you take daunting, you may not remember. But if you say it is a daunting task, I may not be able to face it properly. Automatically, you remember that, yes, it is something which is a little challenging. Daunting task is which causes a little fear in your mind. So, contextually, if you understand your synonyms and antonyms, you will be able to improve. And last but not the least, and the first one, which I was talking about, is your comprehension. As I told you previously, if you do more comprehensions, at least while practicing based on fiction, it will be more interesting because stories will be interesting to anybody. And for you people, you might have been reading different types of stories. So if you start with that, automatically you will be able to do more fiction and also narrative types of comprehensions. And it will give you an overall idea of vocabulary and also sentence structures. See, one shot, two birds. So here, when you practice comprehension, automatically your sentence structures will improve, which is very, very important for rearranging of the sentences. And vocabulary will improve because contextually you will be able to understand the words. Synonyms and antonyms will improve because when you are doing comprehensions, wherever you have any doubt or wherever you feel that the word is a little new, go back to the thesaurus. Thesaurus, thesaurus. It will help you to understand the synonyms and antonyms of the word. So then and there itself, you make a note of it. So that when you go back, you don't need to do it again. You will be able to recall those words very quickly.
Thank you, ma'am. In a very brief time, you have highlighted various techniques that I think would be very helpful for the students. Skinning and scamming, assuming the meaning, mental lexicon. That's been a very rich insight. And I will also request you, if for students practice, if we could share a couple of questions for them to know what are kind of some questions they can expect.
Yeah, definitely. I would like to share one comprehension paragraph with you, and which is simple, interesting, and fiction. As I told you, fiction will be more interesting to anybody. So just give me a minute, I'll share the paragraph. See, everybody is interested in mythology. As your board exams are going on, for a kind of refreshment or for a kind of a little change, start reading some beautiful mythology. So we have heard of Titan and Prometheus or Zeus or whoever. And definitely those names really make you go back to the books. So this paragraph, which talks about the ancient Greek mythology. So once you start reading, you don't want to leave it in between. That's what actually is required for comprehension. And one thing, children, all of you have to remember that whether during the exams or after the exams, reading will be definitely a refreshing activity. So during the exams also, 115 minutes you spend on reading one story. It will become a lifeline for you. So on the same lines, you will also be preparing for your exams. So both of them will go on parallel lines. Okay. So here, this is a very simple paragraph. I think you can go through. So how actually Zeus started helping people, and then how humans have started using different ways to become independent. So who helped them? So definitely something like this will be interesting to everybody. So from something which is a little easier to difficult one, if you travel, your travel becomes very interesting and also easy. Okay, so if you can take 2 minutes and go through the paragraph, I'll go to the next part of it. I'm not reading, you can read and do the work. As I told you, like first, if you understand the questions, automatically you will be able to at least peripherally understand the meaning of the paragraph, which will reduce the time you have to spend on comprehension, right? So the first question is, who are mortals? What is the antonym of the word mortals? So from this you can infer that, okay, something about mortals or something about people will be there in the paragraph. How could human beings become independent? And if you see the options, you see the names of different people. Okay, yeah, maybe the paragraph is about all this. And what is the meaning of the word defy? Okay, so defy, the word is here. So as soon as you go back to the paragraph, this word will be there in your mind and you will be able to locate the word there and also try to understand the context in which it is used. So if you go through the options also once again, you will have these in your mind when you go back to the paragraph. That way, you will be able to go straight to the question rather than waiting for again completely reading the paragraph. So much time you may not be able to have. So with these questions in mind, if you go back to the paragraph, automatically you will be able to see or target the same kind of answer. Okay, so we'll go back to the paragraph. So the first question talks about who are mortals. So definitely it will be a kind of in sequential order. So it will be there either in first or second paragraph. Now you see, Prometheus was a titan, one of the most powerful gods. Yet, even though he was a god, he found humans interesting. Zeus, the ruler of all the gods, did not care about human struggles, but Prometheus wanted to help mortals. So one thing you have to understand in comprehension. The trick is somewhere in the paragraph only you will have the cue or the clue, and that clue you should be able to understand. So human struggles, humans interesting, and somebody wanted to help. Prometheus wanted to help mortals. The second answer, who are mortals? Now, based on the MCQs, based on the options given, you will be able to arrive at a proper decision that yes, mortals are human beings or people who. So here, to make it a little different, what did they do? A person without death, a person who is very powerful, a person for whom death is imminent. See the word imminent again. Everybody may not understand the meaning. But if you see a person who faces death bravely, so all these are something different. So imminent means compulsory, which is mandatory. So a person for whom death is imminent. So through this you have to understand that vocabulary plays a very, very important role. So even the options, we have the answers with a little challenging vocabulary. So in the process of answering correctly, you have to prepare well with lot of reading. Extensive reading will help you to understand this very, very easily. Right? A person who for whom death is imminent is the answer of the question. Who are mortals? A person without death is immortal. A person who is very powerful doesn't suit there at all. There is nothing of that reference at all. A person who faces death bravely. So the reference, if you see, there is no such reference in the paragraph. Okay, so here human beings are referred. So for whom death is imminent. So that is almost like compulsory for any human being. So you can arrive at that answer based on the context here. Right? According to the myths, Prometheus looked for ways to help humans solve their problems. So what is the second question? What is the antonym of the word mortals? So if you can answer this correct, automatically you know who are immortals or unmortals or divine beings, human beings. So see, if you see immortals and divine beings, maybe you might get a little confused saying that, okay, divine beings are also people who are without death. So questions will be interrelated. So you should be able to understand the context in a proper manner so that even the interrelated questions you will be able to answer properly. So mortals, immortals or divine beings? Immortals. Mortals, immortals. Immediately you will be able to understand the meaning. Unmortals is not a word at all. And then divine beings, you don't know what is actually you have to infer. So when the direct word is there, you don't need to use any other word at all. So the exact answer you should be able to write it. Okay. So second question related to the first question, and then almost you can make out from the context itself, right? And what is the third question? How could human beings become independent? So there are four names here, and the names are mentioned in the paragraph also. So you might get confused between the names. So you go back first question and then go back to the paragraph and then come back to the question. It's not difficult because it's almost a direct question, right? Who helped the human beings become independent? Zeus or Prometheus? The ruler of all gods did not care about human struggles, but Prometheus wanted to help mortals. He wanted to help, but did he help them to become independent or not is the question. So how to make bricks to build homes, how to tell the seasons by looking at the stars. So all these definitely will make human beings become independent. So the direct answer is not there in the paragraph, but it gives you a proper context in which you will understand that human beings became independent because of Prometheus. Okay. Next question. What is the meaning of the word defy? First one, follow the instructions meticulously. So you should be able to understand the word meticulously. And then challenge somebody's orders, giving instructions, following instructions. And if you go back to the paragraph and check the context, Zeus was furious. Furious means very, very angry. You dare to defy me, cried Zeus. So you may not know the meaning of the word, but if you understand the context in which it is used, and then you read a little back and forth, you will be able to understand that defying is, again, as I said, follow the instructions meticulously. No, Prometheus did not follow the instructions, and then challenge somebody's orders. What does that mean? Challenging somebody's orders means you don't follow verbatim. That is, you don't follow the orders or follow the instructions word by word. You don't follow their words at all. That's what Prometheus has done. Right? Giving instructions, Zeus gave instructions, but he asked Prometheus to follow them. So he defied. That means he did not follow. He challenged him. So again, the same thing. Exact words may not be there, but you will be able to infer the meaning based on the context used. So mainly when you are doing comprehensions, one thing all of you have to keep in mind that the more the exposure, the better will be your language skills. It will help you to get comprehension, improve your verbal ability, understand the synonyms and antonyms, and also the word order. Rearranging the words requires a lot of practice. And it will not be difficult when you understand the sentence structures properly. In the process, understanding the grammatical structures, whether it is subject, verb, object, or preposition, or adjective, or where is it. But that you don't need to do very, very obviously, but in the beginning, if you understand them, automatically it gets like your mental lexicon becomes very, very strong, and you will be able to do it without any doubt. Okay? I think children wants like comprehension. I just have given you a gist of it, how you have to go about. In the live sessions, we'll discuss how you have to practice and what are the different websites you can use, and also what are the different materials you can use. And now let's discuss one more question of rearranging the following. So rearranging the following to form meaningful sentences you are doing. As I said, we have to use proper grammatical structures. So if you see here, and also if you know what is happening around, you know that the sparrow is disappearing. Okay, why it is disappearing? There are reasons. But once you know the context, first thing is, if you can understand the context, it becomes easy for you to rearrange the sentences. Second thing is, based on the grammatical structure. Okay, what should come first? Subject should come first. But here, he is not giving a proper thing, and he is assuming it. So it seems, the sentence, if you see, the sparrow from city, it disappeared, house has seems common, the duck. So it seems, can anybody guess the next one? It seems the sparrow, it seems that the sparrow disappeared. Anything else? From the house sparrow, because it is called house sparrow because it is very much generally seen at homes. Okay, the common house sparrow has disappeared from the city. It's a very commonly seen one, but it is disappearing. So now you can see it seems that we use because it is a clause. So as I said, grammatical concepts are also interrelated to this. If you understand them, it becomes easy for you to form a sentence. It seems that the common house sparrow has disappeared from the city. That is a full sentence. So if you understand the sentence structure and also understand the meaning of it, it is easy for you to frame a proper meaningful sentence. Rearrange them into a proper meaningful sentence. Okay? Yeah. So we practice that. A lot of sentences we will be practicing, which will really give you an opportunity to be sure of the sentence structures. Okay? Yes. Right. Now let's see the answer here. Yes. Has disappeared from the city. Okay, right? So if you want to see the next sentence, it is related to the first one. So now you have to guess and you have to frame or form a proper sentence. So this is a kind of related one, and as you know, it will be on those lines, it becomes a little more easy. Okay, so now here it is talking about the factors which are responsible for the disappearing of the sparrow. What are important? Like, so as we know that it is talking about the important factors. So what are the factors? So you start with the important factors responsible for. What are the factors responsible? Pollution and also the loss of native shrubs and herbs and shrubs. That's a phrase. So you have to understand the phrase and also you have to understand the clause so that you very confidently complete the sentence. Okay, let's see the answer to this. The important factors. As we know that it would start with the important factors because it's going to discuss why the sparrow is disappearing. Responsible are pollution and loss of native herbs and shrubs. Right? Okay.
So with those expected questions and parts which can be tested in the exams, I think student, as of now, you should focus on your class 12 board because that's also important. But yes, in the month of June, unlike your other June months, which normally we spend on holidays, this would be a prep time because based on this month's preparation, your admissions to your undergraduate program would be decided, right? So we'll get back with more such videos. So please subscribe to the channel and I'll repeat the offer that we have. So as a part of a CUET combo pack, we are offering you English as a language and then 4 domain subjects, which are accountancy, business studies, economics, which you would have read in class 12, as well as mathematics. And then in addition, we have a general test, which is requirement for certain courses. But yes, to increase your chances, I think you should write a combination which enhances your scope of getting admission into your desired college. So that's it for this video. And thank you so much, ma'am, for detailing out the syllabus. In a very brief time, I think with the techniques that you have mentioned, students gained a lot and we shall see them soon in the live classes. Thank you so much. Thanks a lot. That's it. All the best.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
It's time to target top commerce colleges. Explore comprehensive CUET combo pack from OneFin by Indigo Learn.